This is question 40 on the 2019 Ohio Geometry End of Course test. Two parallel lines, A and B, are cut by transversal C as shown. I like to show that they're parallel in the picture by putting the same number of arrows on them, like so. Drag a statement or reason to each blank in the table to complete the proof that angle 1 is congruent to angle 7. Well, we're trying to prove that angle 1 is congruent to angle 7. Angle 1 and angle 7 are alternate exterior angles. Therefore, we're trying to prove the alternate exterior angles theorem. And why that's important, that means we can use any other definition, theorem, or postulate that we know to help us with this proof, except for this theorem. We can't use the theorem to prove itself. Statement 1, line A is parallel to line B, and it's given. So what can we do to finish this problem? Excuse me. Well, we could use the fact that we know that angle 1 and angle 5, those are corresponding angles. And if they're corresponding angles and your lines are parallel, then those have to be congruent. That's one option. One of our reasons, yep, corresponding angles formed by parallel lines are congruent. Let's drag that little baby up there. Would also accept, if it was given as an option, the corresponding angles postulate. You could name it by name. Now we're trying to get angle 1 and angle 7 together. We don't even have an angle 7 in the problem so far. We just have angle 1 and angle 5. If you look here, angle 5 and 7, those are vertical angles. We know vertical angles are congruent. So I could say that angle 5 is congruent to angle 7. Let me make sure these are options. This was an option. This was an option. What would the reason for that be? The vertical angle theorem, or we could just drag this up. Vertical angles are congruent. That is the theorem written out. And then finally, how could we get, if we know that 1 is congruent to 5, and 5 is congruent to 7, we could then conclude that 1 is congruent to 7 because of the transitive property. Now specifically, it's the transitive property for congruence of angles, or congruent angles are transitive, something like that. They just have transitive property, good enough. So that's one way to do this problem. Let me show you another. Because there's multiple ways to do this problem. Let's say at the beginning, instead of you saying, hey, we got these corresponding angles, you just wanted to go to vertical angles first and say, well, angle 1 and angle 3, those are vertical angles. Well, you could certainly do that. Angle 1 is congruent to angle 3. That's an option right here. Vertical angles are congruent. Then you could go, well, angle 3 and angle 7, those have to be congruent because of the corresponding angles postulate. Corresponding angles formed by parallel lines are congruent. And then you're back to the transitive property again. 1 takes you to 3, 3 takes you to 7, therefore you can just go directly from 1 to 7, transitive property. Two different ways to do this, both are same, yet different.